This might be one of the dumbest things I've ever done, but I was getting ready to cook some eggs, and I thought I would talk to my camera for a while I'm doing that. It is Saturday morning. I'm making some eggs here, scrambled eggs, the easiest kind of eggs to make. Um, you know, it's been about a year since I found out I had lung cancer. Um, so I thought I would I don't know. I should celebrate that somehow. I don't know how. Um, what I have is they call the phrase that they use for what I have is it's treatable, but it's not curable. Um, so I'm continuing to be under treatments. I get chemotherapy every 3 weeks. I take a Tagrisso pill every day. The cancer itself is um, not active, is how it's been described. The last PET scan I had, which shows all the active cancer, does not show any active cancer, so that's good. Cancer is not growing; it is being killed off. I have a tumor in my right lung. That's the root cause of everything. It's it's smaller than it was when they found it a year ago. I'm gonna try to move my camera a little bit here. I didn't do anything, by the way, to prepare my kitchen to be camera ready, by the way. I just kind of set my camera up and pushed record. Um, so yeah, the lung tumor is smaller than than when it was first found, so that's good. Um, I had a somewhat large tumor in the back of my brain that was removed surgically last year. There were two other spots that were treated with gamma knife radiation. There's been no additional growth or activity in those sites since last year. So brain is fine. There's some other metastasized spots, a couple of spots in my vertebrae and my hip. Um, there was a little bit of a scare because they thought they might have found a new spot in my right hip a few months back, but that turned out to be something that they think was there all along and they just didn't notice it before. It was a very subtle spot. um, so yeah, so the cancer has basically been halted at the point where they found it, and it's been reversed a little bit in terms of the sites of cancer. I have no real, I don't feel any effects of having lung cancer. I can breathe okay. As long as I don't go running around, as long as I don't do, heavy athletics or anything. But, normal day to day routine, I'm fine. um, I do get winded pretty quickly when I go out and, like try to, pull weeds out of gardens or whatever. Uh, but it's manageable. It could just as easily be from not being in particularly great shape. I mean, I don't exercise or anything, so. Um, all right, so I'm actually gonna put this in here. I don't have the right spatula. There we go. All right, so I gotta put the eggs in. I feel like the skillet is too hot. Okay. Okay. I think that's okay. Let me wash off the bowl. Okay, wash off the fork. So yeah, that's kind of the 1 year update. I I'm fine, but I am being kept alive by medical science, basically. um, oh, this hasn't even been opened yet. So I guess for the foreseeable future, I will be getting chemotherapy every 3 weeks and taking this Tagrisso pill for as long as I have insurance to pay for it, I suppose. Put some cheese in there. So one of the reasons I'm making an omelet this morning is the worst issue that I have, that I face, is the chemotherapy side effects. I'm also putting some bacon bits on here. I don't know what kind of omelet that makes it. And one of the problems I have with the chemotherapy is like the weekend after my infusions, which are on Tuesdays, I get, my stomach starts really bothering me, and I have a hard time eating and drinking, and I get dehydrated and malnourished, and this past cycle, I actually lost about 10 pounds over Memorial Day weekend. Which was one of the worst incidents that I've had for a while. And they tell me that, the cumulative effects of the chemotherapy does tend to get worse and worse. Whereas I started out, I didn't really have that kind of issue when I started out last year, but it's the last 3 or 4 cycles, it's been getting a little bit worse. So I set up they let me set up appointments so I can come in for some IV fluids like the weekend after my infusion to try to counteract that. Because once I get dehydrated and it's hard to catch back up, because it's like anytime I drink anything, my stomach just tells me, do not put anything in here. Do not eat anything. Do not drink anything. I drink, a few sips of water, and it just sits in my stomach like, like it's gonna come back up any second. I've got anti-nausea pills. I take those, and they work sometimes, but sometimes I miss some coverage. Like it usually kind of hits me the worst when I get up in the morning. And over Memorial Day weekend, I threw up, Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Don't forget about the omelet here. Cooking away. So anyway, hopefully the IV fluids will help that. But anyway, it's just kind of a struggle. My weight kind of goes up and down a lot in a 3-week cycle, coincidentally. So I'm trying to. I'm for the next week. I'm gonna have to like stuff my face full of food to try to catch back up. I got some, Ensures to give me some extra protein and all kinds of stuff. I need a plate. Why don't I actually, since I'm on camera, I will use actually I can get one out of the dishwasher. This calls for a real plate. I use paper plates a lot because I'm super lazy. I only have so many real plates. I don't want to have to wash them all the time. This looks like it's probably cooked enough. Woo, starting to fall apart. Man, this looks like a huge amount of food. So what I'm also gonna do is cut up a little, oh man, I gotta get more of these. I'm gonna cut up a little Campari tomato. To put on the side. These are about the end of their lifetime, it looks like. This is my favorite kind of tomato. The regular tomatoes you get at the store, they don't really taste like, I don't know. I really miss garden grown tomatoes. It's one of the only sort of gardening things that I've ever thought that I really want to try to know how to do is grow a good tomato. And you know, most years I think, okay, this is the year I'm gonna plant some tomatoes somewhere. Just a couple of tomato plants and see if I can figure out how to grow tomatoes. I never do it. This year's no exception. Haven't done it. Don't know anything about it. But these little Campari tomatoes are the closest thing I've found that reminds me of old garden tomatoes from my youth. Alright, that is my breakfast. I've said everything I'm gonna say. Bye.